YouTube, how we doing? Pass the Prop NFL back here again. Week 13 recap show. We got some Monday Night Football best bets. Feeling pretty good, obviously, heading into today's show here. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hard to complain. Just had a fantastic show on Friday. Obviously, no better way to go into Black Friday than with a little extra money in your pocket. So hopefully helped you get something with one of those deals or something this week. But no, I had a great weekend. Obviously, a lot of good football, a lot of good games for prop betting. And I don't think that's quite over yet. I think we got a sneaky good Monday Night Football game to talk about. So excited to be here. And yeah, glad we got a little bit of extra money in our pockets.
Yeah, it was I didn't really think that game was very good. It unfortunately for Friday and everybody's watching it.
Yeah.
But we were able to make some money from the Friday game with your bet, and obviously went 2-0 on Sunday. So I'll let you talk about Friday here quick.
No, this week was great. This is the first week all season that I've paid up for elite tight ends. I hit Bowers, and then I ended up hitting McBride over the weekend as well. I never play these super high numbers, so it feels good to kind of be like, you know what? I see enough of an edge right here. I see enough value to actually go for it. And Bowers, I mean, this guy's incredible to bet on. Truly. Even Jacoby Myers coming out the gate, very hot. Obviously, covered his number in the first quarter. Bowers still took care of business. AOC looked really good, too. I guess that was the biggest surprise. I mean, since he's kind of hopped in here, he's been a little bit more impressive than I thought. I talked a lot of shit about him. We still cashed our bet, but I do owe him a little bit of an apology there because he looked a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, he did a lot better than even I thought he would do in that one as well. So good for you. Obviously, happy to see that. Able to cash mine on Sunday, right? Obviously, Alvin Kamara crushed it for us. I think he got this on just specifically rushing. He didn't really have much in the passing game. I cashed his rushing prop at 64. It was 64.5, bro. That was nuts. You just saw him get torched, that Rams defense. Obviously, the Saints losing that game. Want to give a prayer up here for Taysom Hill. I'm sorry, bro. I fucking said it, and I feel bad that I said it, and it happened. But I'm like, this dude was getting way too much volume, bro. He's good for those 5-6 gadget plays a day, right? He's good for those. Get some good throws in there, but man, dude, you're giving this dude 10 to 12 touches. This guy goes way too hard, almost, bro. He almost goes too hard. Puts everything into everyone, and then obviously he got just absolutely annihilated with that knee there. So prayers up. Hopefully he feels better. I just feel bad because I said it was going to happen because they kept giving it to him. And obviously last week goes up for 45, and then this week he gets those extra ones in there. So, yeah, it was a rough one. I felt bad, but shout out Kamara for being an absolute dog there.
Yeah, Kamara's fantastic. I mean, he looked really good in that game. Like you said, Rams defense was really nothing to be scared about. And as someone that bet on the Rams, I mean, that was a sweaty game. You know what I mean? For a while, it looked like Kamara was just going to run all over him all game. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those absolute explosion games. Luckily, the Rams finally got their shit together and kind of pulled off a little bit of a win there. But no, great game from Kamara. Definitely glad to cash that ticket right there.
Yeah, it looks like my dog's going to join us today on here. He just decided. I mean, we just went outside, so I don't know what could possibly be going on here. But at least we got another winner there. This one was a lot sweatier than I expected. I was not expecting a Russell Wilson 400 piece. A 400 piece. Shout out Russ, baby. Whole pack of Badgers, baby. Shout out. I mean, all the Badgers kind of showing out lately. We got Shoon, whatever his name is. I never really know. Shoemaker, I think is how you say it.
Yep.
He's showing out. All these Badgers showing out because the Badgers blow in college football now. So at least the NFL guys put on a show there. But shout out Burrow, obviously coming back in the second half.
Yeah, this was weird because the game script was so perfect for it. If you told me how many points they had, I would have thought he would have had this at halftime. Or the way they were trailing all game, just the whole game script. I mean, this was literally the highest scoring game these two teams have ever played in history. That, literally. So, I mean, the fact that it came down to the last fucking drive was a little bit concerning. There were just so many opportunities where they just stalled out drives, couldn't get anything going. But thankfully, that Jamar Chase catch at the end, I mean, that was amazing. Not only did I had Jamar Chase live that I posted in my Discord at 73.5. He did nothing until that catch right there. I had Burrow longest completion, which I talked about a little bit on the show. Nothing until that moment. That one play really shifted my morning. So shout out to Jamar Chase. And honestly, like I said, shout out to Russell for just absolutely torching those guys. Pittsburgh just showing up every single week despite people doubting them. 3-point dogs did not matter to them at all right there. Shout out the Steelers.
Yeah, man. I said it when they put Russ in there, man. I remember a couple weeks ago I was getting that flack. I'm obviously very high on Russ just because obviously I'm a Badger fan at heart. I think I'm repping the Steelers on there from the gym this morning. So I rep them out there when they got Russ. I went and picked it up. I had to. They got TJ Watt there as well. So had to rep. And yeah, dude, how could anybody tell me after this far into it, they still think that Justin Fields should have been the quarterback there, dude? It just flips the team, bro. I don't think Fields had 400 yards in 5 games passing. George Pickens would fight somebody. They switch over back again, bro. George Pickens would literally go out there and fight him. Shout out Pat Freiermuth. Had a bet on him. I had him in my DFS lineup that went off this week. Shout out Freiermuth. Had one of those weeks that we needed from him. And obviously, Rush just does his thing. So shout out to Steelers, man. They're fun to watch now. That was not what we were saying earlier in the year. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, too. I mean, 400 yards in that game, and still almost didn't even cash his longest completion prop. I was watching that really closely. I didn't end up betting it, but Pickens just the guy to go to every week. 30-plus yard catch, just lock it in. He's going to get 3-4 deep targets a game. It almost feels like betting on Anthony Richardson at this point. Those bombs are coming. You might as well just lock it in regardless of who the opponent is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's talk some dogs here, Stu. I don't even remember. Who'd you roll with this week?
I picked the Titans this week. And not only did I pick them, I wagered real American dollars on the Titans as well, which, I mean, just off the bat, immediately punished by the football gods for that one. I don't know if you watch any of that game. Fumble after turnover after drop. It truly looked like they had no intention of ever winning that game. Just brutal experience for a team to put your money on. I think they finally scored at the very end of the second half, put together a couple pity drives later on. I did have Calvin Ridley longest completion. He did somehow end up getting there. A little bit of Nick Westbrook-Akine as well, but man, just a brutal game from the Titans. Very sad that I bet on them, obviously, and happy for my Commanders, but also it's kind of hard to get anything out of that. You score with a huge 60-yard touchdown on your first drive, and then they fumble it to you on their side of the field twice in a row. So you're up 21-0. I don't know how you really meaningfully learn anything besides Brian Robinson looked healthy. I don't know how. When I bet on him a week ago, he face planted on the first drive of the game. But I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad he's good. That'll be a big part of their game plan moving forward.
Yeah, he looked good. Obviously looked explosive too. He was able to outrun some of those DBs. So good for him. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't been tracking the dogs as bets. But fuck, bro, we be up 20. I think I've hit 9 in a row, or if it's not, it's 8 out of 9. Shout out to the freaking Cardinals, baby, again, getting me another dog cash. We don't put the dogs up here. We used to, but I don't know why I haven't lately because I don't want to do it now because we've been on this absolute heater. Like I said, Panthers 3 times in this run. I've had a couple other big fat 11-point dogs cashing in there. I've got a couple Raider wins in there. God damn, and we only get a 3.5. How can you bet the Vikings over a 3-point spread against anybody? I think it's just like the Chiefs, right? If you're going to bet the Chiefs, bet on money line, they're probably minus 10 billion, but they ain't covering no 10. They're not covering 10, right? Now they're going to give me 3.5 with this Cardinals team. Shout out Trey McBride, the homie, does his thing. It was good. It was good to catch another one. I might have to start tracking them on here, bro, because it's kind of getting crazy right now.
Yeah, no, you've been all over it, obviously. And even your Panthers still covered. Even a week that you still cashed, you didn't even go to them. The Panthers still freaking cover. Gave me a heart attack in that game as well. The Cardinals-Vikings game was a great one, too. Obviously, if you're a Cardinals money line holder, you probably feel pretty shitty about the ending. But overall, you kind of nailed it. I think you picked on the Vikings a couple times. I remember the Bears versus the Vikings as well.
Yep, 3.5. Yep.
Just not a good favorite team. And that record is crazy to look at, 10-2 on paper. That's a little bit fraudulent right there.
Yeah, I got to give my one big quick shout. Because obviously I'm going to have my rant in here. At some point I'm going to have my rant. But I got to give a quick shout in here. Shout out to Josh Allen. Your boy was up, I think, going into the 3 o'clock games, because obviously it was really front-loaded this week, right? So there was all of those games through the noon slate. I think there was only 2 or 3 late games. And I was up 6 points going up against Lamar Jackson and Saquon. I had Kamara and Josh Allen. That fucking bogus-ass touchdown at the end for Lamar put my buddy up 30 on me. I'm like, 30 points? Josh Allen's had 2 30-point games all year. I'm like, shit's dead. First half goes through. Sucks, bro. He gets me like 10. And mind you, this league is a 6-point for any touchdown. Passing touchdown is 6 points, too, which is why these quarterbacks are important, right? So James Cook just goes crazy in the first half. I'm screwed, bro, right? I'm screwed. Then I'm like, right now it's 90-10, right? Like they give you those projections on what you're going to win. I was at 10%. I was projected to lose by 10. I'm like, damn, this is over. Shut the game off, right? I shut the game off. Me and my wife are rewatching, or I'm rewatching How I Met Your Mother. She's never watched it all the way through. So, I'm just like, just get this game off, bro. Just get it off. Then all of a sudden I get this notification, Josh Allen passing and receiving touchdown, bro. I just got 14 points on one play. And I'm like, shit. Like, I'm back in it. But now they're up 28-3. I'm like, fuck. They're not going to do nothing anymore, right? And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, bro, he got a passing and receiving. Why don't you just go for a rushing? Because all I needed was 6 points, right? Because I was down there. He had 24.5. I need 30. I'm like, why don't you rush this ball in, bro? Get that record. Get all 3 in one game. And then I'm like, I can't turn it back on. Can't do it. I see San Francisco scores. I'm like, let's go. Then they fumble on their own, like, they're at like 3 yards, right? They only need like 3 yards. I'm like, oh, God. It's like the end of the third quarter. I'm like, shit, I'm done. And I get a text from my dad. He's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no way. And then I get you get the little Yahoo notification like 5 minutes later. I go like, holy shit, dude. Josh Allen did it, dude. And it's huge because I'm like fighting for that bye week, the first 2 seeds. So, damn, shout out Josh Allen, dude. Got all 3 touchdowns in that receiving touchdown plus passing touchdown being 12 points just on touchdowns, dude. It was wild, dude. It was probably one of the more entertaining ones. Makes up for me losing on a fucking extra point last week. Fuck that. Cameron Dicker almost outscoring Ladd McConkey, bro. But shout out Ladd. He was my second highest scoring guy behind Josh Allen. He was a monster this week. So shout out Ladd.
No, that's killer. For me, I was only sweating Debo. I was against Debo. I just need him to not score like 10 points. So Debo doing nothing for me was killer. But no, the Josh Allen experience, you got the whole thing right there. I mean, hey, anyone that had either him in fantasy or MVP betting was like fired up to the max last night. For me, out of that game, the only disappointing thing, I had so much Ray Davis, like live, all that stuff. I had last touchdown. And he could have scored, and they took a knee at the very end. Like he kind of
on the last one.
It was like, come on, guys. What are we being nice here for? This is a fucking primetime game. Like you got a guy in MVP. Like run up the score. Let him score the fucking touchdown here. So that Ray Davis last touchdown would have paid my rent for a couple months. That would have been fantastic. But can't complain too much. Still a good time.
Yeah, we are 15 minutes in. We got 35 of you guys in here. Let's check that chat. We got you guys rolling in there already. I'd love to see it. Need a whale play for my birthday. We got Chris G in here as well with a birthday. Damn, happy birthday, guys. Hope all is well. We need some bangers for the birthdays. NFL sweep. Yep, that moves our NFL with the NFL sweep. Shout out Terrence. Obviously a dude there for us. Gets us to 47 and 34, 11.9 units on that spot there. Back in that win column, feel good. We got Dev killed it with Levis Darnold Daniels, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, Akine, right? I think Akine had 2. I think McLaurin had 2. I don't even know who scored for Darnold. All I know it wasn't Hawkinson because Hawkinson sucked this week. Absolute dog shit week. Bounce back. Killed it on the Miami-Syracuse over. Hell yeah, baby. We rolled that one. And obviously my boy Taj Brooks goes for 180. That shit was nice. That was a nice little winner there. Just took my bookie for like 800 this week too. So feel good about that. You always feel good, when they hit those college ones and they keep rolling, right? It goes from like a heavy 11, heavy 230, and then you get to the late one on a primetime game there as well. So feel good about that one there. So CMC killed the part. Yeah, I think Hill and CMC both probably done, I'd assume, for the year. And our boy Thomas is in here, obviously. He always brings the heat over there with his questions. So we will get to that in 1 second. Let me pull up the numbers. I'm going to use DraftKings as our book of choice here today. We got Cleveland, we got the Browns, we got the homie there, Jameis Winston, heading to Denver tonight. 41.5 total. We have Denver minus 6.5. Over under at 41.5. A little bit juice to the over in this one, Stu. Not what I was expecting when I was looking at this game on the surface. What's your thoughts here on this one?
Yeah, I think my first thought is just one. I mean, this has got to be a dog or pass on the spread, right? I mean, who's laying Denver minus 6.5? Denver on the money line, that's one thing. I have a little bit of Bills-Denver combo from last night. I don't mind that at all. Like, if you can find a parlay piece, for an NBA game you like, that's one thing, because I do think Denver is the better team here. I think their defense overall probably is enough to get them the win. But, laying the points here seems kind of insane. And if anyone was to tell me they're on the Browns tonight, I would have nothing against that spread, because I think they keep it close. And I think one of the most important things that we talk about all the time with the guy like Matthew Stafford is when you're a dog, when you're behind, you want a competent quarterback that can drive down the field, especially when the defense switches to a little bit more prevent style. They got a little bit more cover two going. They're just trying to limit the explosive plays. You want a guy that can just pick you apart and go down the field and score quickly. And we know Jameis Winston can do that. And for me, that's kind of enough to keep me off of, this at a dog price. The total, I kind of agree. I kind of lean under right here. Just because these are two strong defenses at the end of the day. Obviously, Cleveland can get a little bit burned with explosive plays. Both these two teams play a little bit risky, but I don't think there's enough offensive talent necessarily on either side to fully swing that pendulum. So I would go under if I had to take, any of the four sides, but I think it should be a really good game, honestly.
Yeah, dude, it's hard for me to bet an under in a Jameis game, bro, especially in a game where he's a dog, because if they get down, this boy's chucking, dude. And that's my thing that I think I have a little bit of issue with. Also, seeing a healthy Nick Chubb in there as well kind of changes it up a little bit for me. I just don't – it's so hard to bet props on Denver anymore, bro. They have 3 running backs now. Yeah. They're rolling 3 running backs. They have 1 alpha and 19 betas for receivers. What are we doing here, dude? Almost impossible to bet a lot of these dudes on the Broncos side. It's unfortunate because obviously they've been very, very good, and Bo Nix has been great. So obviously there's that, but I got my boy. I'm gonna roll 6.5 if I had to pick a spot. I would lean the over just for the sheer fact it's a Jameis Winston game, and I can't not in a Jameis Winston game, because same thing with Baker, bro. Both the boys, Geno Smith, boys want shootouts. They want this to get crazy. Right, so sign me up. I'm going to roll. If I had to pick one, I'm definitely taking that Browns at 6.5, maybe even buy it up to a 7. If I'm only paying minus 130 for a 7, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, hard to disagree at all. I think the Browns actually put out a pretty good performance. I was on them last time in primetime, obviously against the Steelers, where I just thought that line was a little bit too aggressive. It's interesting that this one now is even more aggressive. What are we saying, that Denver's a better stylistic matchup? Regardless of the conditions or the home field or not, I don't really think that's true at all. I think the Browns can pretty much stick with anyone. That's kind of what Jameis Winston has offered you, especially you got a game breaker on defense like Myles Garrett as well. So I'm actually expecting a pretty competitive game. I wouldn't be really worried about a blowout on either side. I think the spread's kind of right. Denver's kind of leading the whole game, but it's nothing crazy.
I agree. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a fun one to watch. Obviously, Truro just wants to be in the picture this time. So you see he ain't barking. I hate it when I see it and I have when I watch shows and stuff, if I watch them, it's just it's either dogs barking and shit, bro. He ain't gonna bark. He ain't a barking guy, so he's too chill. I don't know. We just went outside, bro. What the fuck do you want? What the fuck are we doing here? It's fucking 10 degrees out, dude. I ain't walking again, dude. It's too damn cold here. So we got Thomas in here talking about Courtland Sutton. Stu, I will kind of have this added up at the end of your bet because obviously you will be betting on him. But yeah, dude, he's been coming in lately. Thomas has been on point. He's been bringing in that stuff right there. Obviously, I think the last 2 times he's asked the questions, it's been a bet of ours. So I'll let you take it away, Stu.
Yep. I'm going Courtland Sutton over 63 rushing and receiving yards, -110 over on DraftKings right now. I think I just chose this. He has no rushing yards on the season, so it's not like an upside attempt. It's just a lower number than the receiving, which you can get at like 64 to 66 across the board. That's generally where it is. I'm pretty comfortable playing it anywhere in that range, but obviously take advantage of the best number you have available right here. And he's not going to get you, most likely not going to get you any negative rushing yards. So that's what I went with right here. But as Thomas alluded to in his longest reception question, where he's went over in 4 times, he's went over the receiving yards in 5 straight games. He's coming in with a lot of momentum right here. What I really like to see, though, a guy like Courtland Sutton, at times in his career, maybe been demoted to a little bit of a deep threat only, right? When it was Jerry Jeudy in town, it was like a 1A, 1B situation, or maybe you're not running the full route tree. Maybe we're just taking advantage of your contested catch abilities, but we're not necessarily taking advantage of everything else you can do as a receiver. But they don't really have that worry anymore. He's the clear number 1. He's getting 8 targets in each of his last 5 games, at least, averaging 10 targets during that span. He's coming in with some pretty elite volume right here. And for me, a guy like Sutton who can do it down the field, right? You know, he's a guy that can win downfield. He can beat you in those contested catch situations. In my opinion, arguably probably borderline, 8th to 10th best contested catch wide receiver in the NFL, which puts you in some very good competition. Like, I do think he can win downfield. This is important because despite the fact that we do talk about Bo Nix checking down a lot, and that's where a lot of this offense comes from, you got to remember the other part of the Sean Payton offense is deep shots, and they are taking more deep shots than any other team in the league. Well, Bo Nix hasn't necessarily been very efficient on those deep shots so far this year. The volume is what matters. And when you are tied with Jordan Love for the most, 40-plus yard pass attempts, that's what I like to see. I want you to sling the ball down the field. Even if, your completion percentage is middle of the pack, the accuracy might not be there. I want the volume. I want you giving guys opportunities, and that's a big part of the playbook. What I really like about this matchup, and it's what I talked about if you watch Joe Burrow analysis over the weekend, is we're getting a team in the Browns who play a ton of man coverage and a ton of single high coverage. They're top 10 in both of those rates. Courtland Sutton sees some fantastic bumps. 27% target share against man versus a 21% target share against zone. The number 2 option, Vele, sees a complete opposite jump where he's really good against zone coverage and awful against man coverage. We talked about it a little earlier in the year. He's a mega slot receiver. He takes advantage of those little holes in the zone. He's not really winning on talent. So when you put him in these man coverage situations one-on-one, you got a corner to match his physicality, which the Browns do. I'm not expecting much from him tonight. Besides a couple short check downs, I don't think it's going to be a very efficient night. So when I look at your other number 1 target, seeing a big decrease, you see a big increase to the 27% target share. I also like over 30% first read target share against both man coverage so far this season and against press coverage as well, which this team runs a lot of. So overall, you're going to see a lot of 1v1 opportunities. You're going to see a lot of single high coverage. And against Courtland Sutton, that's a recipe for disaster. And it's kind of as simple as that. Now you add in the fact that he's getting 8 targets a game. The volume is good. I'm really not a fan of any other weapons on this offense. Like, literally, point me to one other person you want to trust and bet in this game, and I can give you a pretty good argument why you should not be betting on that guy. Even fun utility guys like a Marvin Mims, like the volume has just never been there. Troy Franklin, the guy that potentially could do something. It's like you're not going to know if you're not giving these guys any volume. It's so rotational. It's so limited. For me, Sutton is really the only guy I trust. You even spoke about the running back room a second ago. Who are we trusting there? Like, it feels like they spin a little bit of spin a wheel before every game, and if you get your number drawn, okay, you get to get 10 carries this game. It's just a lot of unreliable guys, and Sutton has been the clear, number 1 on this team, the clear alpha, and I think they're going to need that. In a pretty tough game where you got Jameis Winston on the other side, right? You got 2 very solid teams that are going to battle it out. So give me Courtland Sutton over 63.5 rushing and receiving yards, -110 over on DraftKings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. I don't know if I'm going to say I'm against you in it, because kind of I am, but not really. Obviously, something can have a game and be the only guy, right, to do that. So I'm going Winston just straight head-to-head passing yards against Bo Nix, minus 127 on Rivers, minus 130 DraftKings. They usually let you do the head-to-head. I think it's like minus 11 yards if you want to just take just a straight minus 110. But if I'm getting that, I'd rather just go head-to-head, right? I'd rather just do a head-to-head a little bit, 17 cents of juice there. I really like this spot for Winston. Just looking at book numbers, right? Minus 130 for 34.5 attempts. 4 higher than Nick's, even though he's minus 130 for over 31.5. I think that the Browns pretty much aren't going to be able to do anything on the ground. I love that I saw Nick Chubb do his thing last week, but also it's again just like stock market stuff, right? I'm buying low on Winston's numbers, and I'm buying high off of Bo Nix, or you're selling high, right? Because Bo Nix is coming off of 307 and 273 his last 2 weeks, right? But you're playing the freaking Raiders and you're playing Atlanta, right? And mind you, you're playing Atlanta, who's getting torched. Everybody can torch him, right? Justin Herbert barely moved yesterday and obviously had an awful game there. But Ladd McConkey was open every time. Like, if they really wanted to, they could have just thrown the ball every time. But they kept trying to run the ball, turnovers in the end zone. They could have put up 30 in that game, right? I mean, I watched that game from start to finish, have Bijan and McConkey in fantasy, so I was pretty invested. Like, that defense is horrendous, right? Like, absolutely horrendous. So the fact they put up 300 in that game, not really bothersome at all. 223 against Baltimore, not impressive, right? That defense gets torched every time. But then, he plays a decent defense in Kansas City at Kansas City and put 215, right? So, that's kind of where I see him here, like that 200 to 220 range. And I like Winston a hell of a lot more than that. Obviously, you got Surtain on the other side. But I was saying this to Stu before we started, like our first 5 minutes, like, who's he going to shadow? Jerry Jeudy? Like, who's he going to shadow? Elijah Moore? Right? They have a bunch of B-level receivers. None of them are going to get oh shit, we got to stop. Right? It's not like that. That's not how this team rolls. If you had to, put Surtain on damn David Njoku, who's probably their best guy. Right? That's their best receiver. Right? And they're not going to waste, all pro Patrick Surtain on a tight end. Right? What I do like is we saw a little bit without Tillman in their last game. I believe it was against it was in that snow game, right? And they were still able to move the ball, right? It wasn't like it just stopped, right? I also like to see they got one of my boys. I don't know if you know this, but my college football guys, if you've been following my channel for a while, one of my boys was Jamari Thrash. I love that dude in college. I loved him over at Louisville. And he's wide receiver 4. And he'll be wide receiver 3 tonight, man. So if we get a chance there, dude is fantastic after the catch. I just think that when we look at this, right, you said man-to-man coverage. I think this Browns team is going to get some pretty big pressure on this offensive line if they're going to do that. You're not going to have enough time to take too many of those deep shots. I think they're going to use that running game a little bit more and use those scat backs, use Jaleel McLaughlin and those, running game, try to make it a little bit different that way. But if I'm getting Winston throwing that ball, 35, 40 times in a game, right? I mean, in losses, man. I mean, we saw him, 400 against the Saints there. I just don't see a way that he is not just chucking this ball around the field, because I don't think that if they really needed to, I think that McLaughlin combined with Javonte Williams, combined with all these different dudes, they get 6 carries each, 7 carries each. I don't see Nick Chubb going out there running 25 times here, right? And if anything, Jerome Ford is not on the field to run the football, right? Jerome Ford is now literally just a pass catching back, right? So I think he's going to do just fine in this spot. Remember, if you take away last week, this boy throws the ball 41 plus times in 3 straight weeks. That is what he wants, dude. He wants to chuck this ball around. So if I'm going to probably get 10 extra attempts, maybe an extra 4 or 5 completions, we just got to hope that they don't pull some MVS bullshit throwing a 78-yard touchdown over the top. Mind you, that was in a damn dome, bro. And Derek Carr closes his eyes 3 times a game and throws that ball to the moon and hopes somebody catches it. So I think that this is going to be a good spot for Winston. If I get 250, I think I'm winning this one. But I think that I could also win this at, 210, win this at 220, right? Yeah. So I think that obviously the Broncos are the rightful favorite here. In a tough spot coming off that snow week on a Thursday. You're off 10 days. Guys getting healthy. Sign me up for Winston. 40-plus attempts in this one.
Yeah, no, I like this. You kind of said at the beginning, ours go against each other. Like, for me, I feel like a lot of the reason I end up on a guy like Sutton is because I just go process of elimination by every other weapon on their team. And I'm like, no, I don't believe in any of these guys to get into yards. And then I look at Courtland Sutton, I go, okay, well, he's the one guy that is going to do something, you know? So I think when you kind of take a broader view of both these two teams, I definitely agree with this prop. Like, especially if you do agree with the spread in this game and you think the Broncos are going to get ahead and they are going to be able to run a lot in this game, Winston playing from behind is like the green light to do exactly what he wants to do all the time. Like, he never wants to be handing it off. And also, Nick Chubb opened up at 64.5 rush yards. It's down to like 52 now. It's only going down for a reason. Like you said, we enjoyed the game in primetime last week, but he's not breaking off explosive plays. He still does not really look like the same Nick Chubb of the past. Like, it's not a good rushing matchup at all. Denver is not a team you really are going to be able to run the ball on anyway. So I think it's going to force them to be pass heavy, which they've really had no problem doing at all with Jameis Winston. So you get Nix, who's kind of had some of the easiest matchups in the league to stat pad a little bit. And then you got Winston, who's had really tough matchup after tough matchup. Pittsburgh in the snow, Chargers, another top 5 defense by most metrics. Like, they haven't gotten easy tasks at all, and Winston still look good. So I definitely have a lot of confidence in this one. And I think we might see a little bit of Bo Nix regression, because at the end of the day, we got two teams play a lot of man coverage, a lot of single high coverage. Which one of these quarterbacks do you trust to make the throw down the field in one-on-one coverage? I think it's Jameis Winston, and I think it's kind of as simple as that at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I like that you kind of talked about who they played, because, I mean, there's a couple common matchups, right? Common games, right, where they both played the same defense since Jameis has been the starter. We've looked at the Ravens and the Chargers, right? Ravens and Chargers, we've seen 223 for Nix against that Ravens D who gives up whatever they want. Chargers 216. Jameis Winston went out there for 235 on the Chargers, 334 on the Ravens. Bro. And that just kind of shows you, like, if a defense is bad and it, you know, if it's bad and it's struggling, I think Peyton would rather run the football and do those short intermediate routes and then, you know, kind of have a toss-out play. Jameis Winston just throw it, like, literally the whole time. 41 attempts is his lowest before a snow game. And he still hit our prop in the snow game, because that's how big of a fucking dog he is, dude. This man likes the money. He likes cashing for us. Going right back to it. Sign me up. Jameis Winston, minus 127. I think that's a good spot here. Let's take a look at some questions. We got a couple questions in here from some guys who got IG in here. Njoku, under 17.5 longest reception at minus 115. He's cleared it twice this season in games he's played. Plus, Denver's defense doesn't play. That Tillman injury just kind of scared me off a little bit. You know, like, Tillman's been doing that the whole week, you know, so, or the whole year, kind of in that intermediate routes. I mean, and you're coming off a bye as well. So it's like, it's even another reason. Like, you kind of like, they're going to have to turn it to someone. You know, you probably knew Tillman was out, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting one. I've been kind of thinking about this for a while as it's been over on the side, because I think the under is the right side in the sense that we know, like, almost guaranteed that in terms of air yards, David Njoku is likely to see no targets of 18 yards or more. Like, in terms of just pure the ball traveling in the air, all of it is going to be yak. But you now have to add context of exactly this huge tight end is going to get, in my opinion, 6 to maybe like 8 to 10 of these short yardage targets where it's essentially a dump down a tight end screen. And like, okay, now you got to have a linebacker tackle him in the open field. So like, it's an interesting question of like, I don't think he's going to be targeted downfield at all, but do I think in that volume he's going to be able to break one? I think I would probably lean towards yes. Even though Denver's defense is good, they don't miss a lot of tackles. It's not a team you want to mess with. Just logically thinking about it, Jerry Jeudy seeing a lot of Surtain on the outside. Elijah Moore, a lot of short dump downs. I think Njoku sees like 8 targets in this game. I think he's super involved. So I have to stay away from the under just on pure volume in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's where you got to attack this defense, right? You got really good guys on the outside. Attacking in the middle, right? And Njoku, I think Akins might be one of those guys I look at for a long shot this week, because that's going to be, you know, option 3, 4 in a lot of these spots. I know SF Barry talking about Jeudy. I think he's the guy getting Surtain, right? I mean, that's got to be, dude. Maybe Tillman if he played, but now it's just like,
yeah,
you ain't wasting him on Elijah Moore's 3-yard routes. He ain't moving. Like, who else would take him?
It's probably not your guy Thrash quite yet either.
Yeah, he ain't there yet. He's like 4 years away from Surtain.
Yeah, it's like you move around. Judy plays like 35% in the slot, so he'll get away from him a little bit. Surtain normally does shadow, but he doesn't really shadow in the slot as much. So, I don't know, even like 50-60% Jerry Jeudy against Surtain is bad. I don't want that at all.
Also snaps out the window. You're getting 30 snaps without him, and that's how many of those are runs, how many of those, like, it's tough. It's I will say want nothing more than to go up for 200 on these boys.
I'm not going to bet the under. If I don't even know. Like, I don't think the over is the right side. I think a lot of people are talking themselves into the revenge game stuff, but also the Browns are playing for nothing. And this probably is somewhat of a legitimate, like, I don't think Jerry Jeudy's happy with his time with the Broncos at all. So if there's a time where you get a couple extra targets, like, it's just the same reason I believe that Nick Chubb, why they'd rest him on a short week to let him play more in primetime. I remember some people on Twitter were like, why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. The season's over. It's like some games matter more when the season's over. Getting Nick Chubb, that primetime coming back, that was important, right? I think it's probably important, Jeudy, to get a little bit back against the Broncos, especially if they're down in this game. So I don't know. I don't like Jerry Jeudy. I don't even think he's that good. But I don't know. I would not be playing him tonight, but I can understand the argument for why people are making it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're game log watching, man, he's been kind of nice lately. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, he's just getting a lot. Like, I was watching the Thursday Night Football last week. I don't think they had a bye last week. I think it's just been so long since they played because they played last Thursday and now they played Monday. It's damn near bye.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting 11 days rest. But when you were talking about it and he was talking in the end game or in the post game, right? Jameis was like, "Yeah, I know when Judy's got 1-on-1, I'm finding him. He's winning. He's winning those matchups. This is a tough spot, right? This is a tough matchup. But I mean, he's probably trying to get to a 1,000-yard season, and I never thought I would say that, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you look at those first 5-6 weeks. This dude was at like 300 yards, right, through 5-6 weeks. And now since Winston came in Baltimore, it's been 70 plus in 4 straight games. The targets are there. He went 6 for 6 in that Pittsburgh game, but mind you, they only threw the ball like 30 times, right? So he is really, really heavily involved here. And if he is in the slot, I think they're going to try to force feed him from that spot. That's my thing is I can't take an under in this game, right, for that guy, right? And there's a couple of these guys where it's just like, I can't bet them, but I'm not betting an under, right? It's just like if I'm thinking this hard about it, probably just a pass, right? Because I mean, it is tough for me to want to go against Jeudy in a spot here where, like I said, dude's at 645 yards and they got 5 games left, bro. He's probably trying to get to that 1K season and just shove it in their face, like, dude, I can still do it. And I mean, he's gonna be. I mean, what is it? 142, 220, 220. He's at 360 yards the last 4 weeks. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So obviously one of them was an 80-yard touchdown. So that's going to obviously boost the numbers a little bit. But got a couple other questions. Love to see them, guys. Thank you for joining us today. We got 70 of you guys in here live. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Obviously appreciate seeing you guys in here. Our guy Luke in here, over 35.5 attempts. I'm always game. My thing is I'm hoping that we have one of those big breakout pass yards, right? I'm hoping we do get a 60-yard catch. Yep. So, I can't take that and take the yards because I'll be cheering for 2 different things. Like, I don't want to dink and dunk. I'd rather just take a 60-yard hitter there and feel good about getting that lead over Knicks in that head-to-head spot. So, I'll never say no to it. I would definitely not bet the under. But, 36 is still pretty healthy. And I mean, he is throwing the ball absolute. I don't know if it's just because – they had that game in the snow, but I feel like everybody saw that game. It was a primetime game. Like, there's a reason why he only threw the ball a bit. So I think he's going to be chucking, but that's just
And I'll say the same thing I say every time we talk about Jameis. I feel very good about getting his numbers live as well. Like when you look at how Jameis in every game starts, they're still going to give Nick Chubb his like 3 to 4 carries on the opening drive. Even if it's 2nd and 9, the second play is still probably a 1 or 2 yard run. You know what I mean? Which, okay, you waste the first drive, you punt it away. That's normally either going to lead to points or generally a game script that means more passing, right? And since I don't think the Browns are personally going to win this game, I feel very good at our chances of getting some good live lines on Jameis Winston passing, because I talked about it last show in primetime. There are a lot of good opportunities. Jameis tends to be a little bit of a slow starter and then just starts absolutely chucking the ball. So I'll definitely be looking at live markets to double up a little bit.
Yes, sir. We got about 3 or 4 more here, Stu. We can make these a little bit quicker because I feel like these ones are more of like that long shotty type. Jay Ford, I don't think Stu's ever betting on him again, in my opinion. Burned us too many times. He doesn't see the field enough. But if you do think, 2-minute drill, he could be just getting 4 in one drive, right? So That's the thing is you kind of want Jameis in that zone where it's just like, I'm throwing every time, right? That's where you start really making up numbers, and that's where we ended up winning big because Jameis fumbled that ball and they needed to score the next time through because they gave up points against Pittsburgh. And then you're just like, oh, here we go. We ain't running. They're not running. Like, you see a lot of these offensive coordinators get cute and try to, like, run these draws and shit. Nope. Jameis checking out of that shit, bro. He's been there long enough. He's like, all right, let's go. Let's throw the ball a little bit more. I don't know if I would take 5. I don't know if I'd take the receiver. I would just take yards if I was going to take anything with Judy. But that's just me. You have any thought on that, or you want to move to the next one?
Yeah, I would probably take yards or targets. Like, I don't know who offers that. It's probably
probably Prize Picks, maybe.
Right? Yeah, but I don't mind it just because Jameis does. He'll throw like the 10-yarders over your head. That's clearly not like a real target, but it does count in the stat sheet. So I actually don't mind that as much.
I'll kick this to you because you're the longest guy, longest yard guy. Javonte under 13.5 longest rush. I'm imagining is not available on a lot of books, I would assume, because I just don't know. But if you have MGM, I feel like you kind of have to take this, don't you? He could run the ball 5, 6 times.
Yeah, most of the major ones should have this. This should be widely available. I lean the under as well. I have no. You said banning Ford. Ford's not really banned. He just kind of sucks. That's whatever. Like for me, a team that's actually banned is I bet pretty heavy on the Broncos running backs week 1. I got it all wrong. I remember I took yards. Or I took receptions for Javonte and he got his yards. And then I took McLaughlin receptions and he got the other one. So I missed both them somehow. I was like, I'm never betting these guys again. And my life has truly been so much better since making that decision. I see people every week try to guess the under, who's going to be the guy that gets it. I don't fucking know, man. And I don't even know if they know. Like, legitimately. I don't know if they know in the room. So I lean the under. I want nothing to do with any overs on any of the running backs, but I am not playing any of these guys. And I have no interest in playing any of the Denver running backs. The usage is just so insane. So it would be a lean under on all of them. So I don't mind this at all, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of assumed that it wasn't on any books because, like, how can you place that? Like, how can you place a line when you don't even know, if this guy's even going to play more than 20% of snaps, right? We've seen, Esteme, we've seen him go how many times where he has 7, 8 carries in a game, then he has 2. Like, it's just annoying, man. Nick Chubb rushing under. Stu kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. You missed it. Yeah. 14 yards. You just missed it. I would just pass at this number, especially if he gets 12 to 14 carries. Like, do I want to bet that he's going to be under 4 yards a carry? No. I like Nick Chubb. I don't think he is a bad running back. Tough matchup, but we're talking about them being behind. What if they're ahead, for even 2 drives? They're probably going to, force feed them. So you're not worried about Jerome Ford either eating into his rushing upside because he doesn't really run the ball anymore. Appreciate you, Flynn fam, as always. We appreciate you. Yeah, we try to do as much as we can for you guys, whether it be figuring out a time when we're both not in our actual spots or just, popping in here, for quick ones when we can. So appreciate you. We got Winston, longest completion over 33.5. Thoughts on that, Stu? I don't really bet on the longest rusher completion very often.
Normally it's a yes, but with no Tillman, it's a no for me this week. And you see even why in the number. It's normally a 35, 36 kind of guy. But yeah, no Tillman, because then you're you're kind of, it's like what I like about longest completion is you have multiple options, right? I really like Anthony Richardson for that because it can be AD Mitchell, or it can be Alec Pierce, or it can be Michael Pittman, or when Josh Downs there, it can be Josh Downs. Like I like having all those different guys that can win deep. Elijah Moore, no. David Njoku, no. Jordan Atkins, no. Okay, so it's just Jerry Jeudy. So at that point, I'd either bet Jerry Jeudy longest reception or pass. And for me, since I don't love Jerry Jeudy, it's just a pass. So that's the general logic behind that. And just they're not enough like intriguing. Maybe your guy Thrash comes in and balls out.
I'm telling you, bro. Something's happening with him tonight. When I saw his name pop up,
I'll take the touchdown. I'll take this. Why not? I love backup wide receivers getting an opportunity, and Jameis Winston will give a guy an opportunity. So I'll toss like $10 on his touchdown, but I'm not going to trust him to actually go out there and do anything quite yet.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's get a quick recap in here, guys, and we'll get it rolling here. 65 you guys in here live with us again.
I got a long shot too.
What'd you say?
I said I got a long shot too.
Yeah, we're ready to go. I haven't looked at them yet, but I do have a couple spots I do want to go to. So let's do a quick recap here, Stu.
Sounds good. Yeah, normally I'm more on the fly, but I came ready to go. We got Courtland Sutton over 63.5 rushing and receiving yards. Like I said, -110 on DraftKings. It's just to get a little savings. If receiving is all you have, I take it up to like 66, 67.
Awesome. I'll be on Browns. Oh, not that one. Why am I saying Browns Denver? I'm on Winston. Winston versus Bo Nix, -127. You guys know it's been a long week. We've been traveling way too damn much. But yeah, Winston head-to-head. I believe DraftKings has it for sure. I know Rivers has it. I know a lot of these books do offer it under the passing process. You got to go way to the bottom. But yeah, definitely a spot I do want to attack there. In that one. So Stu, since you said you're coming ready, where are you heading today?
Yep, we got Bo Nix 40 plus rushing yards at +320. We're doing a little bit of a long shot on my guy Bo Nix. All right, I mean, I don't know if he's my guy. People have told me I need to apologize to him, which I don't feel the need to do quite yet. He's still got to prove a little bit to the people, but I am trusting him here in the rushing game specifically. I think that's arguably been one of the most impressive assets of his game is that he looks mobile in the pocket. He looks pretty solid at avoiding pressure. Well, guess what? You're going to need to avoid pressure against the Browns. They got Myles Garrett. They got a one-man wrecking crew over there, and they're going to blitz a decent amount. They're going to get pressure in your face. It's kind of unavoidable when you play this team. What we always like to talk about is quick pressure within 2.5 seconds. They're perennially a top 5 quick pressure rate team, and that's going to be the case here against the Broncos offensive line. That's middle of the pack, nothing to write home about. What I like about Nix, we talked about it earlier with his deep throw rate, how he's constantly throwing the ball. Either when he's not in his checkdowns, right? He's still one of the league leaders and pushing the ball down the field. What that's resulted in is more 10-yard sacks than any other quarterback in the league, which is very interesting. But it results in scramble opportunities. When you're dropping back, when you're trying to take all these deep plays, that's how things break down. And we always like to talk about targeting mobile QBs versus man coverage. Well, guess what? You got a top 5 man coverage rate team on the other side. When these plays break down, when you're dropping back, when you're running 10 plus yards back to try to avoid pressure, that's when the madness happens. That's when we can create these crazy openings. And that's why you want to have a mobile quarterback on your team that can take advantage. And Bo Nix, to me, has been mobile enough this season where I like it. We already know we're going to see a design run or two. It's not going to be fully scrambled. They do get him a couple RPOs. They get him creatively involved. So I think there's enough of an opportunity here with all the pressure, with all the dropbacks where he's going to be, chased out of the pocket. I think that opens up our opportunity. And I like the plus money price tag on a little bit of Bo Nix, 40 plus rush yards tonight.
Beautiful. I'm actually going. I'm not usually that type of guy to do multiple long shots, but I think they're long enough where I don't think I'm going to have to worry, too much about odds and needing to bet too much on them. But I'm going to be attacking Jordan Akins at 50 receiving yards. That's plus 730. And also, I'm going to take the other tight end. I'm going to take Njoku top receiving yards in game at plus 550. We've kind of talked about it a little bit here, and with no Tillman, Judy's probably finding his way to the Surtain matchup, right? Do I think that Sutton should be ranked at plus 180? Yes, I do think that he is probably the most likely guy to be the highest receiving guy in there. But say that's 60 yards. I mean, that's what they're giving his line at, right? Do I think that Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore should be higher than Njoku? Fuck no, I don't. Elijah Moore's running routes at like 3 yards, bro. Like, you need him to pop one, right? You're going to tell me he's worth 440? You think he's a whole 100 points better than Njoku, who we've seen pop off 20-yard catches, right? Not this year as much, but in the past, he was, he's running those routes in the middle of this in the seams there, doing a great job on those bigger plays. Like I said, it hasn't been much this year, but you also got to remember half this year was still with damn Deshaun Watson, who couldn't get anybody the ball, right? So I really like both these spots. I think 730 for Akins is very, very nice. I think that if we're going to see Jameis Winston throw that ball for 300 yards, right? I'd rather, if I'm betting Jameis for 300 yards, dude, I'm not getting a great price, right? I mean, right now, if I go to Jameis Winston right now at 300, right? It's like 480, right? But if he's getting to 300, we're going to need more than just, Elijah Moore and Jerry Jeudy getting us big games. I'm not seeing a huge game from Elijah Moore. Maybe we get 7 catches for 40 yards, right? But I've seen Akins get the ball down the field. I'm feeling pretty good about it. And I'd rather have both options here because I think Njoku definitely has the upside to lead this game in receiving at plus 550.
Yeah, no, and I just, for people that have a lot of books, Akins is 11-1 on Bet365 for 50 yards right now, and he's 9-1, so plus 900 on Caesars, which I know a lot more people do have. So I don't know, what book did you get this one on? Was it FanDuel?
I'm just using FanDuel for both because they're the only one that offers the top receiving guy this early in the day, at least.
Yeah. No, so I do like I agree the same exact thing as you of like, why is Elijah Moore above David Njoku here? I don't believe in that at all. I think Njoku gets more targets, and I trust him more with Yak on those targets that he is going to get. And I'm glad you brought up Akins. I was 100%. I was probably going to bet his touchdown, honestly, but now I got to tell you, in the 50 yards, especially once again, 11-1 over on 365 right now. That's a really good price. But they're going to run a shit ton of 12 personnel in this game, right? When you think about it logically and like their solution, especially in it, like, Nick Chubb out there out of the backfield, it sets up the play action as well for the downfield shots. Like when you lose a wide receiver like that and you have 2 tight ends you've already been using a lot, there's no reason why you wouldn't see a lot of 12 personnel. So plus 950 for his touchdown is a really good price in my opinion. Definitely taking some of that as well.
Yeah, does that just not just seem crazy high for a guy who's going to be out there a lot? Like
it does.
I mean, especially if we're talking about Tillman being out and you have a long time to prep, right? You have 11 days. I'm not going to lie. Watching that hit on Tillman, I was not expecting him to play this week. Like, that dude got smoked.
Yep.
They ruled him out on Friday. Like, that's a lot of time, right? That's a lot of time to start instilling a little bit more in there and maybe a little bit more play action, right? All it takes is one, right? All it takes is one. And we've seen them there. Canadian Cam, I will put this on the screen, but I already know Stu's answer to this question. So we both get a lot of questions on these, and I've almost fallen for it a few times, right? How many times have we seen a dude get hurt or something? Like, or just like, say Bo Nixon, they're up by 14 in the fourth. Are they going to pass it once? You know what I'm saying? Like, or like, Denver starts running the ball well in the first quarter and Winston gets the ball for 2 minutes, like a 3 and out. Like, how many times does this happen, Stu? I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's best if you just pretend this tab does not exist. this specials tab on FanDuel with these. I swear I get questions every single week. This is the easiest prop I've ever seen. All he needs is 10 rush yards every quarter plus 100. I swear to God, nobody has ever messaged me back, oh, we got a winner, because people love to message you back when they win, especially if you tell them you're not interested. I swear, I see these all the time, and the winning tickets I see are not there. I don't know. I don't like these markets at all. They're made to look so good, so appealing. Oh, it's so easy. They should need 15 yards in every quarter. Well, it's priced at plus money for a reason. These guys are not in the business of handing out money to you for free. And I don't price these markets personally. I think it would take a lot of time to do that accurately. And right now, I just get sent like losing bets from these all the time. So I have no interest in really ever betting on these. I'm sorry to be harsh or whatever. It's just like maybe I'll find one with like really good value, but it's always the case where it just looks so good. It looks too good to be true. And if something is too good or it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So that's really my advice there.
All right. I do want to make sure, since we went through everything, last thing I'm going to say on here. So, I know he's talking about, I'm assuming Bo Nix rushing yards.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this right now. You can't look at just game logs, bro. You can't do that because I'm assuming in that Falcons game, why would you run it? Yeah. Why? Everybody's open. You know what I'm saying? Why would you run it against the Raiders? Your first two reads are probably open. Right? That's the thing is in these tougher matchups, that's when you do see these guys run more because you actually have to look past your first and second read. When these dudes can't guard your first and second read, that's when you got to be improv on there, right? I mean, you look at some of these games where he's hit like some big rushing yard games, right? The Saints, they only passed the ball 26 times. He had 10 carries in that game, right? Chargers, good defense. He had 61 rushing yards in that game, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough because I'm obviously backing your play on that as well. It's just you can't really game log on those when you know as a quarterback, my first read, I want to get the ball out. The whole point is to get the ball to your receivers. It's just like what happens when you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the tough part is you can't really look at those. Yeah, he had a huge game, but he didn't need to run. Like they don't want him to be first read running. You don't see him running QB draws like Lamar or Josh Allen, right? Because those guys can take hits. Lamar just doesn't get hit hard. The dude is so good at just not getting hit hard, right? They're not just running a QB draw through the middle with Bo Nix. That's not the way he does it. That's why Stu's kind of looking, towards that. The Browns being able to, be competent, be able to slow these guys down a little bit and get you off your first two reads to kind of get you on those. That's when we start looking at those rushing yard guys, right? That's kind of the point I think you're talking about. Tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I mean it's good context to have that he hasn't been running recently, but I think for me it's like the number dictates everything, right? And earlier in the season it was like plus 200 for 40 yards, so the number was a lot worse. And now you're getting a lot better number because the game logs have not been as good recently. But it's like you said, I feel like blowing out two bad teams in back-to-back weeks is obviously the least opportune least beneficial opportunity possible for a quarterback to accumulate rushing yards. For me, I tend to look at primetime games, more important ones under the lights, where a quarterback's more willing to put their body on the line. And I think a lot of it too is high blitz rate teams, guys that are in your face, sending pressure. We know that they have a game breaker on the other side in Myles Garrett that can be in your face at all times. And if I don't believe in your offense to put things together themselves, the quarterback is going to have to bear a little bit more of that responsibility. Even if, the matchup isn't good or whatever. I felt the same way about Kyler Murray this weekend. And his rush yards got so low. The alt line numbers were so good. And it was a lot of it just because people were scared of the Vikings defense. But I think, some of that, the hecticness, the blitzing, I think that creates the opportunity that we want to take advantage of. So, definitely no hate if you don't want to tail the Bo Nix rushing. A long shot is a long shot for a reason. But I do see a lot of upside, for his rushing in this game, despite the lack of recent, volume and kind of bad game scripts.
Yes, sir. Love it. Love it. As always, guys, if you want to see the recap, did about 10 minutes ago, make sure you guys pop over there. Stu, anything else for the people here before we head out? We had a pretty good group in here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say great week for me, 4-0 on free picks. Got some MVS and some Lad McConkey cashes in addition to the Burrow and Bowers, which is a lot of fun. Definitely going to be trying to get more of those Twitter write-ups out, especially some NBA as well. I've been betting a lot more NBA behind the scenes. Looking forward to posting a little bit more of that in public. Last thing I'll say, 4 for 4. I believe it's the last day possible that they're running their little holiday Thanksgiving sale where you can get all of my plays for the rest of the season for like $20 with code TONE. I think it's $17 with code TONE right now. So definitely go take advantage of that. I mean, I see all these guys charging like $30 a month. We got plenty of time left, $40 a month, like $17 for, rest of the season and playoffs. That's a good fucking deal right there. You should go take advantage of it. We just hit the 20 unit mark this weekend on my personal plays. Connor Allen's actually crushing me. He's about to hit the 30 unit mark, just pissing me off. I don't like to be second place anywhere. So got to work a little bit harder, catch up to him. But in the meantime, I do think you guys should check that out. Like I said, code TONE. Everything's over on Twitter. I'll tweet about it a little bit later. And yeah, like the video. We'll be back here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, trying to get you guys some winners.
Yes, sir. We'll be back Wednesday, ready to go. I'll be back tomorrow. Obviously, YouTube play of the day. We've been heating up on those, feeling pretty good. Video's been good. Obviously, feel great about where we're at on the show. Again, crossing the double-digit unit mark for us combined here, 47-34. And we're putting out a lot of plays. Like, it's not like we're just, doing one or two. We're trying to get you as much value as you can by popping in here. We appreciate all the questions. Thank you, guys. If you have any more, we have time yet. We got a couple hours yet before the game starts. Make sure you drop them in there. Best of luck to all you guys tonight. Hit that like button on your way out, and we'll catch you Wednesday. Have a good one, guys.